Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today is July 28th, 2015, and one of the major news stories today, if you can believe it, even on the front page of CNN right now, is that the Tom Brady suspension of 4 games has been upheld. And you have to remember, we live in a world where so many things are happening and there's so many important stories out there. So for the mainstream media to bombard us with news about the suspension of a pro athlete, it just seems so silly. But the reason they do this, Truth Seeker, is because these sports are more important than you know. They are sewed into the fabric of everything else happening in this world. Coming out of the Super Bowl, Truth Seeker, I said to watch for the numbers 52 and 144 this year because they were so important in the Super Bowl. Since then, a lot of things 52 and 144 have come up. We will talk about them more in this video post. But just this week, just Sunday, July 26th, 2 days ago, Bobby Christina Brown died 144 days after turning 22. And remember, she was found drowned in a bathtub just the night before the Super Bowl. And then I said this event is very much connected to the Super Bowl. The name Bobby had Pythagorean gematria of 21. She was 21 years old. The Super Bowl ended up finishing with Russell Wilson's 21st pass being intercepted by number 21 on the goal line with 21 seconds left in the game on the down 2nd and 1 on a date of a game 2/1, February 1st. And here, both of these things are now coinciding. The name gematria of Bobby Christina Brown is 86, just like the gematria of Deflategate. We'll talk about all these things. I just bring this as an introduction to show you how important these numbers are and how they keep showing up. By the end of this video post, I will show you how it connects entirely to this Tom Brady Deflategate scandal, even the headlines today. And I will also show you how it connects to possibly Tom Brady's backup and his future success, Jimmy G. So let's just get into it, Truth Seeker. If this sounds crazy, stick with me. You will see that I am not crazy. All of this is very real. So notice that Tom Brady appealed this Deflategate suspension. The suspension was made May 11th, a number we'll talk about. It's important. It was appealed June 23rd, and it was upheld today, July 28th. From the date of the appeal, June 23rd to today, is a span of 35 days or 5 weeks. The suspension was upheld, meaning Tom Brady can return in week 5, kind of like 5 weeks later. But notice this. The Pythagorean gematria of Tom Brady is 35. If you want to know how to do this math, it's very simple. I have an introduction video, but very carefully I'll do Tom with you just so you get the taste of it. T is the 20th letter. 2 plus 0 for 20 is 2. So we add plus 2. O is 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. So O is worth 6. M is the 13th letter. 1 plus 3 is 4. So we add 4. We do that for the whole name. Make each letter a single digit. Add Tom Brady's 35. His life number, being born August 3rd, 1977, is 8 plus 3 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 7, 35. And this number shows up in his football games. For example, in Deflategate, the game where they supposedly deflated the balls, he had 35 passing attempts to Luck's 33. And oftentimes 33 is the number of the martyr, or who loses. All these numbers come from the Bible. Jesus was crucified at 33. The Bible's of 66 books. The first Super Bowl was in the 66th season, the 47th season of the league. Christian equals 47. Lots of coding, Truth Seeker. The week before they defeated the Colts in the AFC Championship in Deflategate, they defeated the Ravens 35-31. Notice the sum of that game is 66, like the year of the first Super Bowl. But they also won with 35 points. And in that week, Aaron Rodgers did the exact same thing in the NFC as Tom Brady. Everything was synced up by his life numbers. So this isn't just specific to Tom Brady. It's just that we're focusing on the Patriots and Deflategate right now. But this goes on in all of pro sports, more than just the NFL. We're just focusing on this as one more piece of evidence. I have all sorts of videos showing how this goes on in all the sports. If you're new here, please take the time to go through my videos. Lots of knowledge worth knowing. This is very real. The more evidence I present, the more critics become believers, or should I say thinkers, or critical thinkers. There's more coding here, but we're focusing on the 35s right now. What I want to point out is today we get the news of Tom Brady's suspension. The only other story right now on ESPN I've seen is about Le'Veon Bell's suspension today. His suspension was reduced. This is what Tom Brady was trying to do. He didn't get it, but Le'Veon Bell did. And what's really interesting about Le'Veon Bell, Truth Seeker, is that his suspension was reduced to 2 games, which are the games the Steelers play the New England Patriots, which Tom Brady plays for, and against the San Francisco 49ers. And that's interesting because Tom Brady is from the Bay Area, grew up a Joe Montana San Francisco 49er fan. He's beaten a lot of Joe Montana's records in the time of his post 9/11 success. Remember, the Patriots came into being on the backs of the Patriots. Anyhow, San Francisco's hosting Super Bowl 50, and this year the Super Bowl is just using the number 50 instead of Roman numerals, a change-up, something they haven't done before. San Francisco and Pythagorean gematria sums to 50. They're hosting Super Bowl 50. And the news of this story is coming today. 7, 28, 15. 7 plus 28 is 35. That number 35 again, plus 15 more is 50. Like Super Bowl 50. And while ESPN was showing this story on the screen, I happened to be watching at the time, they were showing footage of Tom Brady smiling with San Francisco in the backdrop. They showed a shot of Tom Brady with a big grin on his face. It almost makes me fear that Tom Brady could be heading to his 7th Super Bowl in 49er land, San Francisco, who's hosting Super Bowl 50. And again, Le'Veon Bell's suspension is reduced to the games against Tom Brady and the Patriots and the San Francisco 49ers, who are hosting the upcoming Super Bowl. What I'm trying to say is perhaps this is more coding in the story. Also, Tom Brady announced his suspension on May 11th, which is the 131st day of the year. Le'Veon Bell is born February 18th, 1992, a date with 131 numerology, corresponding with the day number that Tom Brady's Deflategate suspension was announced. Coincidence or not? Again, I repeat, this is the only story going on right now on ESPN. Tom Brady and the Le'Veon Bell suspension. Also, Truth Seeker, get this. From Deflategate, January 18th to May 11th, the date Deflategate was announced, or the suspension for it, is a span of 113 days. And the number 113 is so often coded in mainstream hoaxes, distractions, however you want to refer to them. Some people get mad at me for using the word hoax so much, but I think it's such a great way to describe what is done to us. We're hoaxed into believing lies told through the mainstream media. We're hoaxed into believing these sports games are not scripted when they are. For sports fans who deny this, remember that professional wrestling once upon a time declared itself to be legitimate until it was too exposed. Then they acknowledged it, and guess what? Their fan base even grew. It's possible we could see that same transition someday with the NFL. But look at this, a span of 113 days, number coded into the hoax, mainstream equals 113, green screen equals 113, dishonest equals 113, and the Jewish holy text, Bava Kama A113, says a Jew can circumvent a Gentile, which is a non-Jew, by lying to them. And all this stuff that is done to us are lies, because we're taught to think that what just happened today was a verdict made after much deliberating and reporting, but really it's just all a bullshit narrative planned by the numbers. This is what I want people to wake up to. From May 11th, when this debacle started, to July 28th is a span of 78 days, like the speed a record spins at in revolutions per minute. Also 11 weeks in 1 day, which reminds me of the 111th World Series approaching. And when I think of the World Series, I think of Babe Ruth and the Curse of the Bambino, which lasted 86 years, like the gematria of Deflategate. We'll get to it. Also, Truth Seeker, this is what I want you to know about. This 1133 text right here from Rand Gitlin, somebody I've never heard of, brings up this number 44. Last year I followed the number 44, and I followed it almost to predicting the Super Bowl correctly after the Week 3 games, which we'll talk about. But notice this name, Rand Gitlin, a very weird name, has gematria of 50, like San Francisco, like upcoming Super Bowl 50. And again, today's date announcement has connections to 35 and 50. Numbers important to Tom Brady. With regards to that 44, let's just go to this first, Truth Seeker. Where's it at? Bear with me. What we're going to here is the Week 3 games of last year, September 21st, 2014, 9/21/14. 9 plus 21 plus 14 sums to 44. This number is very important, Truth Seeker. It was huge last year in the NFL season. In these Week 3 games, this date with 44 numerology, only 2 games had anything to do with 44. The Ravens defeated the Browns. Remember, the Cleveland Browns became the Baltimore Ravens. The sum of the score is 44. The only other game that had to do with 44 was the Colts over the Jaguars, 44-17. And last year, the season prior, the Seahawks, who won the Super Bowl, whooped up on the Jaguars in Week 3, 45-17. Very similar score. But notice, only these 2 games have anything to do with 44. And 44 years earlier, Super Bowl 5, the Baltimore Colts defeated the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl 44 years earlier. This made me predict after Week 3 that the Colts would win the Super Bowl. I was wrong, but notice that the Patriots advanced through the Baltimore Ravens and the Indianapolis Colts in the Deflategate game to get to the Super Bowl, and they won it in the 44th year of being in their division. So 44 was huge last year. Look at this joke right here. I'm telling you, Truth Seeker, this stuff's in front of our face if we know gematria. Shit Pats fans say with the I eliminated. If you eliminate the I and do the gematria of this, it sums to 44. 44, Truth Seeker. Get this. Since learning about all this 44 stuff, I've realized it comes to have to do with Lupercalia. Lupercalia is celebrated on the 44th day of the year and traces back to at least 44 BC, the year Caesar was assassinated. Lupercalia in simple English gematria sums to 98 and Pythagorean 44. The name Tom Brady happens to sum to 98. And again, the Patriots won in the 44th year of being in their division last year. Big number right now. Again, they advanced over the teams in the playoffs that won the Super Bowl 44 years earlier. And if you want to know something even trippier, once upon a time in NFL history, the Miami Seahawks folded and became the Baltimore Colts the next season. Remember, the Patriots defeated the Seahawks last year. Notice suspended with the capital S exception, a fair rule also sums to 44 like 35. These headlines are so coded. These stories are so coded. Here's a headline that I saw recently. Andrew Luck, Colts want to dethrone Patriots. And look at the gematria of dethrone, Truth Seeker. 44, that number coming up again. Andrew Luck and Brady both wear 12. 12 times 12 is 144. If you write out 44 in gematria and summit, it sums to 144. Last year, the 2 teams met in the Super Bowl in Glendale, Arizona, which has a gematria of 144. And the Seahawks and Patriots were both 14-4, including their 2 playoff wins when they met in the Super Bowl. So much by the numbers, Truth Seeker. That's what I want you to understand. Right now on ESPN, the only story besides Tom Brady and 44 is this. I'm not even joking. This is the only other thing ESPN's shown in the last 4 hours. Top 44 jeers. Remember, we're in the time of the 44th president right now, Barack Hussein Obama. Look at this headline right here, Truth Seeker. Tom Brady's 4-game suspension upheld. He destroyed his cell phone March 6th, which is another date with a connection to the number 44. 44. Recently, we had this headline. Deflategate football sells for nearly $44,000 in auction. See, if you're not aware of this gematria and numerology and what's really going on, you're going to miss all this. But if you're awake to these numbers, it becomes undeniable. That's why so many people who come here and make fun of me become routine subscribers and contributors to my written blog and this video blog. A lot of people have cussed me out and said I was a crazy conspiracy moron until they waited a week after becoming aware of this and noticing it was undeniable. Because once you're aware and awake to it, it shows up in front of your face, left and right. And also in the world of sports truth seeker, I predicted successfully that the NBA Finals would be Warriors versus Cavs before it happened. Warriors-Cavs played on February 26th, 2-2-6. That was in the regular season. Then they played exactly 98 days later in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, and it went to overtime 98-98. Let's see if I have this up here, Truth Seeker. Show you something. Bear with me. In Deflategate, Truth Seeker, Tom Brady had 226 passing yards. And remember, Tom Brady sums to 98. And these numbers showed up exactly in the NBA Finals, too. From February 26th to the day the finals began was 98 days. Coded all over the NBA Finals. I did several video posts on it. I just bring that point up to show you how well synced up, how well thought out all this stuff is. I know it seems almost impossible, but they're doing it. Possibly even forging the stats by a yard or two to hit it. It amazes me myself, but there's no doubt that they're doing this. If you haven't seen my videos on the NBA Finals, please go back and watch them. You can even watch the video on how I predicted the NBA Finals before it happened. A lot of numerology there. And if you can believe it, I did it through the number 42. LeBron James scored his season high of 42 points. The name LeBron James equals 42. He was on a 2-year, $42 million contract. Both the Warriors and the Cavs retired the number 42 for Nate Thurmond. In this most recent Super Bowl, Tom Brady became 4-2 with his only 2 losses coming against the New York Giants, who play in NYC, the land with the 42 acronym. Sorry if it's too many numbers, Truth Seeker. I got this stuff on lock. I know it's not a joke. Remember, this thing's called Deflategate. Here's a headline from CNN on May 6th, just days before the announcement was made that he was suspended. And look at this. Deflategate, simple English gematria of 86. Notice deflate is 53, like the number of players on an NFL roster, the reflection of 35. Now notice the headline, deliberate deflation. Pythagorean gematria, also 86. Again, watch my how-to video. You'll be doing this in no time. Very simple. Pyramid, triangle, symbol, all 86 days. And from February 1st to May 6th, the date of the Super Bowl to that headline was 94 days, or 3 months and 5 days. Remember, 94, the reflection of 49. So get this, Truth Seeker. Go back and show you this. When they defeated the Colts in the Deflategate game, the sum was 52. When they defeated the Seahawks, the sum was 52. And I'd already seen that there was a lot of 52 coding around this time, and it made me go back and look at this Jimmy Garoppolo game that I recorded. Jimmy Garoppolo, on this date, September 29th, 14, got to play ball. And it was a date with 52 numerology. Garoppolo, the name, has 52 numerology. And he's going to be the Patriots quarterback starring for the 4 games Tom Brady's suspended. Remember, Tom Brady once got to become who he was because Drew Bledsoe became hurt, giving Tom Brady the opportunity. Perhaps we will see a repeat of that with Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, this 52 number is big. He has it. It's connected to the Super Bowl. It's connected to what's going on with Tom Brady. Perhaps. So remember that storyline. He got his debut on the 52 date with the 52 name. And also, just to show you that weird things are going on in the NFL, they just announced yesterday that the NFL's hired their first female coach for the Arizona Cardinals. Her name's Jennifer Welter. JW have those initials of 33, a number so often coded into hoaxes like the word gate is 33 in Deflategate. The name Jennifer Welter also has gematria of 74, a number often paired with 33. Out of the 50 states in the United States, only one has a gematria of 74. It is the 33rd state, Oregon. In the Bible, Jesus and cross sum to 74. Jesus crucified at 33. A whole lot more than that, Truth Seeker. I have all sorts of videos on this, but just real quick, she's got those numbers, 74, 33. Her short name that she goes by, Jen Welter, sums to 40, which is interesting because 40, when written out, has simple English gematria of 84, just like Arizona, where she has been hired to coach. She will be one of the coaches for the Arizona Cardinals, playing the division with the 49ers, Seahawks, and Rams. Her life numbers are 114, like we're living in the time of the 144th Congress, 133, like the number of temptation, 61, a connection to God, and 34, a number having to do with new and birthing. She's a new female coach for the sport. They also say she's 5'2" and is born in Vero Beach. Whoops, that's a typo. Florida. Vero Beach, Florida, which has gematria of 52. So, notice there she's got the 47 number on, the first Super Bowl in the 47 season, the reflection of 74 like Jennifer Welter. It's a league by the numbers, Truth Seeker. Jen Welter, 47. So, hope you learned something new. Hope you can see how rigged all this stuff is by the sports. Look at that. Even in the Deflategate game, Edelman had 98 receiving yards. Remember, Tom Brady equals 98. This number connected to Lupercalia, connected to 44. The more you look, the more scripted you see how it is. So, it's not Roger Goodell who makes the calls. He's just the puppet. It's not Tom Brady who wins the Super Bowls. He's just the right puppet picked. The good enough one to carry out the scripted games. Again, never forget it. Patriots Seahawks closed out with the number 21, which is now connected to the death of Bobby Christina Brown. Got a video on that. Everything by the numbers, Truth Seeker. All right, until next time. Encore, Truth Seeker. I just saw a name come up on the screen as I finished, and I just want to show you this. The attorney for Tom Brady, who's making the statements about his disappointment for the suspension being upheld, is named Don Yee. This connects directly to Deflategate. Don in simple English gematria is 33, Yee 35, so put it together, Don Yee is 68. Remember, Deflate's 53, the reflection of Yee, 35, this number connected to Tom Brady. Gate 33, like Don, and Deflategate 86, the reflection of Don Yee. This is what we live in, Truth Seeker, a giant numerological hoax from sports to what's reported in the mainstream, to politicians, to movies, to music. Why? Because the Zionist Masonic Jews are running it all, and that's where it has to end. All right, until next